Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about love. When a woman can't stop thinking about a man, that brother feels it. Even if he's across the ocean, pretending he ain't paying attention, trust me, his heart is shaking. Because a woman's love is powerful, it's spiritual, it's energy you can't hide from. When a woman's heart focuses on a man, her energy reaches him even in silence. There is something incredibly deep about a woman's thoughts when she loves. She doesn't just think with her mind, she thinks with her soul. Every moment she spends caring about him creates an invisible string between their hearts. Even when she says nothing, her feelings speak. A woman can be miles away. They may not talk every day, but the way she feels has a power that travels. It reaches him in the middle of his day. It interrupts his focus when he is trying to act like everything is normal. It whispers to him when he's alone, reminding him that someone out there is connected to him in a way he cannot fully explain. Men don't always understand this, but they can feel it. A man might not be emotional like her, but when a woman keeps him in her heart, he senses the shift. He becomes curious. He thinks about her when he didn't plan to. Her love becomes a kind of presence in his life. It's like she is standing right next to him, even when she isn't physically there. Her energy becomes comfort. It becomes a peace he didn't even know he needed. Women love differently. They love with detail. They remember the small things a man forgets he ever said. They remember his smile, his worries, his plans, and his dreams. When a woman cares, she invests her thoughts into building a future she hopes he will be a part of. She thinks about how to support him, how to motivate him, how to make him feel stronger. All those thoughts create a vibration, and whether he realizes it or not, it inspires him. Sometimes a woman won't say a word. She just thinks and feels and waits. She watches his actions, pays attention to his effort, and even in his silence, she listens to what his heart is trying to tell her. And during those moments, her love doesn't weaken. It grows stronger. She becomes attached to the idea of him, not because she is desperate, but because she sees something valuable in him that he may not even see in himself yet. That energy, that loyalty, that emotional commitment, it touches the deepest part of who he is. You see, men can feel when someone genuinely cares. It softens them. It breaks through the walls they spent years building. Even the toughest man begins to open up a little more. He may act like he doesn't notice, but trust this, he does. Her thoughts toward him make him question his own feelings. They make him wonder what life would be like if he finally let his guard down and loved her the way she loves him. And even if she never says a single thing out loud, he will eventually realize that someone out there is praying for him, believing in him, and choosing him every single day. And that realization changes everything for his heart. Men pretend to be strong, but real love makes their heart nervous and soft. A man can walk through life with a straight face, acting as if nothing can shake him, like he is built from steel and nothing touches his emotions. Society teaches men to hide their heart, to stay in control, to never let anyone see their vulnerability. But all of that strength, all of that hard exterior suddenly begins to melt the moment he starts to feel something real for a woman. Love has a way of exposing the truth inside a man, the parts of him he keeps locked away from everyone else. When a man realizes that a woman's love for him is deep and genuine, it hits him differently. He starts to feel nervous because he knows this type of connection is rare. He becomes soft in places he didn't even know existed. Suddenly, the idea of losing her scares him more than anything. This is where you see a shift. The same man who once acted like he didn't care now cares too much. He worries about saying the wrong thing, doing something that might push her away. His heart starts making decisions he can't control with logic. Men often fall in love slowly, but when they do, it's intense. They don't show emotions the way women do, but that doesn't mean they don't feel them with equal power. In fact, sometimes a quiet man in love feels deeper than someone who talks about love constantly. He becomes protective, thoughtful, curious about how she feels. The tough guy suddenly becomes a man who checks his phone twice, hoping she messaged. The one who acted like he could live alone forever now imagines a life where she is always beside him. Love makes a man fix things he once ignored. His ego shifts, his priorities change. His heart starts speaking louder than his pride. He may struggle to admit it, even to himself, but inside he is terrified of a love that could transform his life, terrified that she might see the real him and walk away. But he is also encouraged because her love gives him confidence. It tells him he is worthy of being cared for. It reminds him that he has someone who sees the good in him even when he doesn't see it first. And here's the truth about men. They want to be strong, but they want somewhere safe to fall to. A woman's love becomes that safety when he knows she believes in him, trusts him, and chooses him. His heart feels something far more powerful than strength. It feels peace, the kind of peace he doesn't find anywhere else. And that is why real love makes a man change. Not because he has to, but because his heart finally has a reason to soften. A man can feel when a woman chooses him with loyalty. It changes how he behaves. Loyalty is one of the strongest forms of love a woman can give. It is quiet, consistent, and steady, but it is powerful enough to transform the heart of any man who receives it. When a woman chooses a man with loyalty, she isn't just choosing his good moments. She chooses his struggles, his flaws, his fears, and his dreams. She stands with him not because life is perfect, but because she sees the potential in him that he might still be trying to understand himself. And when a man recognizes that kind of loyalty, something inside him begins to shift. Men are used to being doubted. They are used to people walking away when things become difficult. But when he realizes that she is the one who stays, who believes in him when others don't, who chooses his heart, even when she has other options, he starts to view her differently. That loyalty becomes a mirror reflecting the kind of man he wants to be. He feels honored by her trust. He feels motivated to protect that trust. He becomes more careful with his words, more thoughtful with his actions, because he doesn't want to be the reason she hurts. There is a responsibility that comes with being loved loyally. A man may not talk about it, but he feels it deeply. Her loyalty makes him want to grow. It makes him want to step up and become a better version of himself. He starts to realize that being loved like that is not a small gift. It is a rare blessing. And the fear of losing that blessing pushes him to value her more. He starts making choices with her in mind. He thinks about the future differently. He becomes more aware of how his decisions impact her heart. A woman's loyalty also gives him peace. Men live in a world where they constantly feel pressure to perform, to succeed, to be strong. But when he knows that she has his back no matter what, life doesn't feel so heavy. Her belief in him strengthens his spirit. He feels safe enough to be vulnerable, to let his guard down, to show his real emotions without fear of being judged. Her loyalty reminds him that he doesn't have to face life alone. And even if he doesn't say it out loud, he starts loving her in a deeper, quieter way. He starts watching her differently. He becomes more attentive, more protective, more committed, because he knows that someone who loves him with that level of loyalty deserves nothing less in return. She becomes a priority. She becomes the woman he wants to build something real with. Her loyalty isn't just a feeling. It's a force that changes his behavior, his mind, and his heart one day at a time. The more a woman thinks about him, the more he feels responsible to rise to her expectations. When a woman truly cares for a man, she doesn't just see him as he is, she sees who he could become. She imagines his potential, the greatness inside him, the version of him that even he hasn't fully discovered yet. And that belief, those thoughts, those hopes she has for him create a silent expectation, not a demand, but a gentle push, a reminder that he is capable of becoming stronger, wiser, more successful, more loving. And whether he says it or not, a man feels that energy. A man may act like he doesn't notice the little ways she supports him, motivates him, prays for him, but deep down, he does. Her faith in him becomes a light he follows, especially in moments when he doubts himself. He starts thinking differently. If someone sees something in him, maybe it really is there. Her belief becomes a reflection of his potential, and he begins to feel a powerful responsibility not to let her down. Because he knows that when a woman invests her heart and mind into a man, she is giving him something valuable, her trust. That trust is what pushes him to elevate. He becomes more careful about his decisions, more focused on his goals, and more aware of how his actions could affect her feelings. Suddenly, life is not just about him anymore. He has someone who looks up to him, someone who depends on him emotionally, someone who wants to see him win, and that makes him want to work harder. It encourages him to rise, to show her that her love isn't misplaced or wasted. Even in silence, her expectations speak loudly. He can feel the standard she holds him to, a standard rooted in love, not control. She wants him to succeed because she cares, and he wants to succeed because she believes. That connection creates growth. He becomes more responsible with his time, his ambition, his future. Her presence in his life becomes motivation. He wants to be the kind of man she can proudly stand beside. And when a man truly loves the woman who inspires him, her expectations don't scare him. They strengthen him. They give him direction. They give him purpose. They remind him that he is not doing life alone. Even if he feels frustrated sometimes, even if he gets tired, he looks at her and he remembers why he started. He remembers that her heart is in this with him. A woman's love is powerful enough to turn an ordinary man into a great one. Not because she forces him to change, but because she sees the best in him long before he sees it himself. And every time she thinks about him, hopes for him, and believes in him, his heart rises a little higher to become the man she already knows he can be. A woman's emotional investment can turn a careless man serious about the future. Many men go through life thinking love is just a feeling that comes and goes. They don't always understand the depth a woman brings when she chooses someone with her whole heart. At first, he may not pay attention to her efforts. He may take her presence for granted, thinking she will always be there no matter how he behaves. But the moment he realizes that she is emotionally invested, not halfway, not casually, but fully, something inside him changes. He begins to see her love as something valuable, something he must protect rather than play with. When a woman invests emotionally, she doesn't do it lightly. She gives her time, her patience, her support, her care, and most importantly, her vulnerability. She shares her dreams with him, includes him in her plans, and starts shaping her life with the hope that he will be part of her future. A man who experiences this kind of commitment starts to understand the weight of responsibility love brings. Her emotions become a part of his world. He begins to feel accountable for her happiness, her comfort, and her peace. At first, he might feel confused. Men are often slow to process feelings, but slowly he realizes that this woman is giving him what many men spend their whole lives searching for: someone who truly sees him, someone who stands by him, someone who doesn't leave when life becomes difficult. And when he understands what he has, the careless version of him begins to fade. His heart wakes up to the importance of the relationship. He starts thinking long term. He starts considering how his actions today might affect the future he wants to build with her. Her emotional investment forces him to look at himself. He sees the areas in his life where he needs to grow. He becomes more thoughtful with his decisions. He starts protecting the connection, respecting her boundaries, and putting effort into the relationship. Love turns into commitment, and commitment turns into responsibility. He stops living like a boy and starts acting like a man who has someone to build a life with. A woman's emotional depth teaches him how serious love can be. It shows him that real relationships require effort, understanding, patience, and accountability. And once he truly feels her commitment, he doesn't want to lose it. He begins to imagine a future where she is his partner in every part of his life, his highs and lows, his success and struggle. Her love becomes the reason he wants to improve, the reason he wants stability, the reason he wants to be the best version of himself. The truth is, a woman's emotional investment is one of the strongest forces on earth. It can transform a man who was unsure, unprepared, or afraid into a man who is ready to love deeply, fight for what he has, and finally build a future that includes the woman who believed in him when he didn't believe in himself. When love is pure, a man's heart becomes protective. He fears losing her more than anything. Men may not show fear in the way women do, but inside, their hearts can be fragile when they love deeply. In the beginning of a relationship, a man might act confident, like he has everything under control. But once he realizes the woman in his life is special, once he sees that her love is different, honest, and pure, his entire emotional world shifts. Suddenly, the idea of losing her becomes one of his greatest fears. This fear isn't rooted in possession, it's rooted in the value he sees in her heart, her loyalty, her tenderness, and the peace she brings into his life. Pure love makes a man protective in ways he never expected. If she is upset, he feels responsible. If someone disrespects her, he feels anger rise inside him like a flame. If she's going through something difficult, he wants to fix it even if he doesn't know how. Her pain becomes his pain. Her joy becomes his joy. That's the moment he recognizes that she's not just another person. She's the person his heart chose. Men don't fall in love often. Many can go years without truly connecting with someone. But when it finally happens, he holds on tight. He becomes more aware of how precious the relationship is. The late night talks, the support she gives him, the way she believes in him, even when he doubts himself, all of it becomes a part of his heart. And the deeper that connection grows, the stronger his instinct becomes to protect it. His protectiveness isn't just physical, it's emotional. He guards her heart by trying to be honest, loyal, and consistent. He doesn't want to be the reason she cries. He wants to be the man she feels safe with. He starts thinking before he speaks because he knows his words have the power to hurt or heal her. He tries to be more patient even when life pressures him. He becomes gentle with her feelings because he knows she trusts him with them. The fear of losing her also makes him more careful with his choices. Suddenly, the things he once did carelessly become things he pays attention to. He doesn't want to risk anything that could break her trust. Her presence reminds him that love isn't just about passion, it's about accountability. He doesn't want to wake up one day and realize he lost the best thing he ever had because he wasn't mature enough to handle it. He also becomes more vulnerable, though he might struggle to show it. Loving her makes him open up slowly, revealing parts of himself he usually hides. Pure love softens his heart, and he trusts her with the truth about who he is, his dreams, his flaws, his fears. That vulnerability is a sign of deep love because a man will only expose his weaknesses to someone he believes will protect them. And when he fears losing her, he doesn't pull away. He holds on tighter. He starts making plans, thinking long-term, imagining a life built with her. He becomes willing to fight for the relationship even through challenges. Because in his heart, He knows that a woman who loves him purely is not easy to find again. A man may look strong on the outside, but his real strength is measured by how he protects the love he is blessed with. And when he finds a woman whose love is sincere, he will guard that love with everything he has.